So I'm at home and I'm today talking about the empathic soul, and I'm going to do 30 signs about the empathic soul. Whether you're living with one or whether you are one, today I'm going to be speaking to you directly about the empathic soul. I'll see you after these messages. Hi, before I start the video, I'd just like to read a short quote by Sylvester McNutt III, which sums up what an empath is, and I believe he was one. He says, "Everything I experience hits me deeper, raw and intense. As an empath, I feel the energy of myself and others. As I age, this ability only grows deeper and stronger." So true. So true. Stay blessed. So welcome back. Please like, share and subscribe. Welcome back. My name's Matt and I'm from Holistics. Today, as I said, I'm going to give you 30 signs that you are either an empathic soul or you are currently with one. And these, I'm confident through research and myself being an empath, and my partner also realizing recently that she's an empath, how we can work together and grow together, and that's obviously the strapline for Holistics. So stay tuned, and I'm going to start off now. I've got my notes in front of me, so I'm going to be referring to those because there's a lot to get through, and I hope you will. So let's start. First point is they are good listeners. So first of all, they don't just listen, they hear you. Now the difference between just hearing and listening is for the fact is that they can be more empathic with you, so they can put themselves in the situation that you're currently in. They don't just listen and say, oh, okay, well, that must be a bit of a bad time, a bit of a challenge. They can just actually mentally and emotionally put themselves in that situation, and they can really feel what you're going through, which a lot of the time helps you to move forward and understanding that you're not just another it's not just another conversation, i.e. down a pub or in a cafe. You know, this is actually some kind of form of therapy. So when an empath, or you with an empath, or if you are an empath, you would straight away automatically just go straight into their shoes. And there's a saying within coaching is that we don't just hear you, we don't just listen, we hear, and we do take on board, and we can put ourselves within a situation. So one of the lines we would say is, for what I'm hearing and from what I feel is that you are going through X, Y, and Z, and this helps us to determine that we are going down the right path with you in order to support you. The other point too is seeing other people's emotions. So we clearly and not just clearly visually or from a psychic point of view, we can feel the emotions that you're going through, and this helps us to understand and would help you understand what you're currently about and what is happening to you, and all those feelings within your emotions, i.e. your chakras, and also the things around you and the people around you, why you are affected in certain ways. And this is where us being empaths, or you being with an empath, and why they sometimes go through the peaks and troughs, which I shall address a bit later on in this video. The third point is being an empath is a privilege. It is a privilege. There is so much you can learn from, and as you, whether you believe in reincarnation and you've come back down to support or to learn, to develop, to grow, it's about developing your consciousness and your sense of awareness. So because you've arrived back on this planet and you are growing as a being, you are learning to not just think, see and understand. You're learning to really identify yourself and be a part of this human existence, because remember, you're a spiritual being having a human existence, which are two different things. So as you grow and you become more of an empath, your privileges get stronger, so you become more self-aware, and that affects you as when you're developing yourself and you're using the law of attraction. Being empathic helps because you can see, believe and receive a lot stronger, because you're in that state of feeling and sensing. The fourth point is recognizing your truth, recognizing your true self. So you recognize your true self, who and what you are. You're not just some random person that is bobbing along in life. When you recognize your true self, it gives a totally different spin on what life is really about. And because you start learning to understand what you're about, and you're growing and developing yourself within you, then opposed to you just being a human, you are realizing that you are an individual compared to other people, and that you are unique within yourself. So because so many people just think that they're here and they just exist, and they go to the pub, they go to work, they have children, they go and they just live, die and pass over, there is meanings to your life and your life around you. Even the relationships you have with other people, which I shall cover later on, and how you impact on their lives and how they impact on yours, and certain changes and certain energies which you get closer to and some you pull back from. So point 5 is you feel a sense of envy. You feel envy. You don't become envious, you sense it in other people, and it's a big part of being an empath. You're going to get that a lot. A lot of people are going to be challenging you, and I don't mean to disgruntle you. You know me, you should know me already. I see how it is. There is going to be a lot of people that is going to challenge you because you see things beyond the normal realm. So because you do see it that way, and you do react in a different way than everybody else does, they will try and say that you're wrong. But again, sometimes you as an empath, and I'll cover this later on, is this whole confrontation situation, because we know that we know more than the average Joe or the average person. We don't come into confrontation with people. We highly unlikely will challenge people all the time. We can accept what we see is truth, and then the other part of that, because we accept who we are and what we are and what we see, we can turn around and go and leave other people to their devices, and we can just sit with our own comfortable skin. So the next point 6, is the empath is nobody's fool. Now, they aren't nobody's fool, because we are aware and we can see things from a different point of view, and we understand things on a different level. We can turn and go, we rarely go to fight and flight. So we rarely ever go off into another realm and start being more confused. If anything, we pull back and we will go, okay, well, you know what, I'm not going to get into this war of words with you. We embody what we are, but we also, it's no point if you're with an empath as well that you to lie to them, because they more than likely will sense it, feel it, understand it and see it. So we respect you more if you come out and say the truth, whether it's hurtful or not hurtful, because part of our truth of an empath is to be open and honest with ourselves as well as empaths, and with other people. Because when we're open and honest with ourselves, one of our goals is to bring more open and honest people within our surroundings, because that's what we live for, and we become irritated by those who are not that way. We're not saying we're above them, we just feel that we're not of that type of person. The other point with that as well is that if you are not open and honest with them, and they sense it and they are right, it pushes you away, or they move away even more so, because they find it hard in future to then trust you moving on. So point 7, they never like to be lied to. And again, because they have gone through this whole transition of development, they're highly unlikely to be one to lie to you, or they're highly unlikely to be the ones that lie to themselves, because in order for them to develop, they have to be truthful to themselves. And this has been a challenge for people who are empaths, is that the more they lie to themselves, they push themselves away from their own existence with the creator. And being an empath is growing as an individual, and understanding that you are a different form of human, and that you do have all these other signs and other elements that you need to understand and develop. So the next point is point six. The next point is point 8, and it says, so you sense that something is wrong. You instinctively know when there's something going on. You instinctively know. You may not be able to put your finger on it, but it's a part of you being an empath to pick up on these vibrations and go, there's either something wrong with somebody, there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with the situation. For example, you may walk into a room and people may be all talking and then they go quiet. All right, you could say they've been talking about you, but it may not be the case. You just know it's about you. Almost some empaths I've known, including myself, have known what the subject has been about. And sometimes I've gone and said, well, you can carry on talking about X, Y, and Z, and people look to each other and thought, what the hell did he know that? Or some of them walk in the room, walk back out, and then start distancing themselves from those people that have been talking about them because they know they've been talking about them. So the next point 9, is that they will sense where there's negativity, and if someone's been off with them as a empath, they would know distinctly that someone's being negative towards them. And say, for example, it's your partner and you say, oh, what's wrong? Nothing, or they go, no, everything's fine. They would know, and they probably more than likely would know what the problem is as well. And they have strong psychic abilities. Also, they make really good parents and really good coaches and teachers, and also speakers, and they're really good because they be able to tap into the unwritten feelings that the other person is not willing to openly share. And this is what makes them powerful and important individuals to be around and to learn from. And with that, obviously, because they take on a lot of energies, they will show and help direct the person in the right direction. So point 10 is they don't like discrimination. So they will sense when there's discrimination. You find a lot of civil rights leaders, a lot of people who stand up for people's rights, people who, whether they are part of an organization, whether they are part of protesters, you find most of them will be empaths. And this goes back to, I think, some of conspiracy theories and why some governments and some organizations don't like protesters or free thinkers, because they see through the BS and they are aware what the goal is of the individual or the organization's point of view of what they're trying to achieve. And this is a fear of some of the big mainstream individuals who try to downplay some of the protesters or people that are doing right, or civil rights leaders and people that stand up for rights, whether it's for race, sex, or any form of discrimination. These empaths go beyond those. They make really good carers, and they also work a lot within the social and non-economical parts of society. And this is what's really important about when you get an empath. Could be going along and then they are drawn into, say if they're a maths teacher, but then they just leave, or they work in economics and then they just leave and become healers of teachers or things of that nature. It's because they've realized that their energy shifts and move and they become empaths. That's the difference why you get the changes, and people around them can't understand why they changed, because they realize that there are empaths. The other point as well, point 11, is that they will sense and see that an individual are going through that they're going in the wrong direction. This is why earlier when I mentioned that they are good coaches, counselors, teachers, anyone in that profession where they're giving guidance and advice. They probably find that they'll make good good people to work with, or they would excel within that position. And again, it goes back to whether they choose to follow that path and really do self-discovery in order to become a more powerful empath, because as they develop and they grow and become more conscious awareness, they will be able to develop and help others, and others get drawn to them. This is, as someone said to me, is like, you can't teach someone to be an empath, they just are, and you can develop skills, but if you're not empathic, or you're not good at sensing people and feeling people, some just are naturally born that way, and it's not for anyone. Like, some people are really good with numbers and very very good in numeracy, and some are very good with have a feeling point of view. So it doesn't make anybody less a person. It's just that's how they are created, and they're created that way for a reason. So the next point, point 12, is the empath doesn't like sweet talk. So if it's a female, for example, there's a saying that women are more in touch with their feminine side because they are female, and some women don't like the sweet talk. They like you to just come be brutally open and honest, but they like attention. How you speak to them, you can't just do all the little one-liners, and they in the long run, when you're building a relationship, it's basically based around that. So the sweet talk, they like to be to the point. They don't beat around the bush. They just say how it is, and people and empaths are more pulled towards that direction, that they will be kind of sometimes come across they seem kind of like brutal in the way they speak, but they cut through the BS and they'll just say how it is. Point 13 is they sense when something is not real. Now, when they sense that something's not real, when they feel like you are not being truthful and openly and honest with them, they will brutally kind of like they will still confront you. They won't be around the bush, as Janaza said, but they're open and honest with their feelings. And it's kind of a developmental thing for empaths, and as an empath, as I was developing, I really didn't have the time to go around the houses with people, or people ran houses with me. I'll just say how it is, and me and my fiance, we just kind of to the point, not really, but we kind of see how it is, and but you can say without it. When the words land, it still lands in a certain way. So, for example, you could say, don't take this, I just want to say this, but don't take offense to it. I'm just saying it because I've seen these changes in you. That's saying I've been observing, I've been thinking about it, and I've given it a lot of thought. Yeah, then you're going, look, listen, I think you've changed, and this is what I think you should do. Do you see the difference? It's ways of saying it, but the landing is going to be the same way, but it's the preparation. Hey, bring it. You can lob a cake at someone on their birthday, right, and land it on the table, just dash it on the table, then bring it over and put candles on it and lighting it and sing someone happy birthday. The process is still the same, but it's going to land the same way. They're still going to receive the birthday cake. So the other point what I want to get through on here is I want to talk about healing of the empath, and if you're going for these next couple points, and I'll shift back to if you are an empath after. This is for anyone who's an empath and again for a bit of a tough time, because you do. This is here. I'm here to also help and guide. The next point is point 15. So I want to let me just quick before I go on to that. I just want to say that point 14 is about spotting people exploiting people, so they'll be able to sense whether you've been exploiting people. And this is another big thing about why I put that before the next bit I want to talk about. And they sense people when they're about exploiting people, we just don't like it. We don't like it. It goes back to standing up for people with discrimination. It is what it is. No one has a right to really exploit anybody. So let me go on to what I want to say about the healing, and if you're an empath, that's why I wanted to talk about the exploitation, because this is what leads on to after a period of time when you take on as an empath, whether you're with an empath or you are an empath, this bit is how you can help an empath. And if you are an empath, this is what you can do and what you may be sensing. And because all this stuff that you've been picking up on and working with people and kind of like absorbing is led to this. So you're feeling overwhelmed. So point 15 is you're feeling overwhelmed by people. Now you may and always just feel like, you know what, you just want to go and hide in a bush or go and bury your head in the sand or ignore letters coming in. It's because you're not putting in your protection properly, or you need to go through cleansing. So for example, I work with a lot of people who have emotional challenges, and I also do a lot of healing. So constantly, sometimes I take a week out and just do a lot of self-cleansing, a lot of healing, a lot of just being in nature. You need to find out what your niche is about your healing, whether you like to be by the sea, whether you like to be in water, whether you like to be in the forest, whether you like to be in the fields, or you just need to be around positive people. And again, I come back to positive people because that's another form of healing. Sometimes you may just need a form of healing. So when you're being overwhelmed by a lot of people, and at that time, and you're feeling, even if they go to you, can I just talk to you, and you're feeling like, you know what, I don't want to talk to anybody, that's a massive thing, that you've been overloaded with other stuff which is impacted from other people. So again, go for your healing, or just go and get Reiki done. If you're a Reiki master practitioner, or you study Reiki or spiritual healing, you can do that on yourself to clear or cleanse your chakras. You know, the other thing I would suggest you should do is use the frequencies of music or sound frequency. You can find a lot of this on YouTube. I'll be doing a lot of that shortly, but have a look on YouTube. There's so many great people out there that are doing it, and look at the frequencies in order to help you when you meditate. So point 16 is you're not sleeping well at night. So no, and this is me, and that the part of it is getting good sleep, getting good rest, getting, you know, your sleeping patterns. I can sleep, I can function well in 4 hours, but if I'm going to function really well, it's on 6 hours sleep. The other point is that if I do 8 hours or do 10 hours, I don't function well at all. Sometimes it's like because I've got too much sleep. Normally I leave it down to spirit to guide me. So when I get my rest, I kind of meditate and feeling, when I'm feeling anxious, or if you're feeling like you can't sleep, irritable, and you're tossing and turning, this is where it comes into. So get as much rest as you can, and use meditation, or use eating well. That's our part, because I never put this in my list, but I want to add this in as a part of the sleeping pattern. You need to eat well, get your vitamins. That is so key. Even if you have to take supplements to help you, obviously check with your GP, but make sure you get your proper supplements. The other part as well, I'm going to speak about this a bit later about the moon cycles and stuff, but the other important thing is as well is vitamin D. You know, the sun helps empaths a lot, especially if you're a light worker. So be aware of that. Sign 17 is you sense when something's going wrong. You do sense when something's going wrong, even though when there's nothing going on. You sense it, and then I've said this to my fiance, I've said this to good friends of mine, you know what, something's going to happen. And the first thing they say to me, they know already, is good or bad. And then I wait a minute, I go, no, it's positive. Though maybe it may look like it's going to be bad, but it's a positive thing. Oh, is it about me or about whoever? Normally it's about me, or it's about the person I've spoken to. But if it's globally, I'll say it will just be out in the ether. It will just be around. It will feel like it's around me. So I'll say, no, I think this is more globally. And one of the big things is when Diane, for example, I was saying the other day to her, my partner, my fiance, and a friend of mine, that when Diana died, I was coming out of a club. I was half cut, to be fair, and I remember getting into my brother's car, and then I just looked up at the screen, and then it just started just trickling with rain, just a bit. And then I looked at the clock, and it's 3 o'clock, and I said to my brother, something's happened, something terrible's happened. And he said to me, what is it? the family right. Is it your family? I'm sure your family's fine. It goes, no, it's not my family. This is bigger than that. And we found out that that's when Diana died, and the rest is history. So moving on, 18.18 is feeling spaced out. Yeah, when you're feeling spaced out is another sign that you're being overwhelmed by people or by things. When this is when you need to get healing, you need to align your chakras, go through your points. As you're developing as an empath, I used to create a diary and put not some war and peace diary, but just bullet points, just saying dates, times, and you can see your pattern or when things affect you. I'll speak about this and patterns and cycles a bit later because it is beneficial. Second point, the next point, 19, is you're feeling drained and annoyed by people, and sometimes with all good intentions, people come around me and I just want to just get rid of them. I just don't want to be around anybody, and it's just I want to be alone. So sometimes I just disappear for a couple of hours, or I will just go, I need some space, because you absorb people even if you're not working with them. It's a part of you being an empath. You just take on this energy. So, and this is where it comes to about protection, using your protection, using the white light, the golden light, the bubble, everything like that. I'm going to do a video about protection as well later on. My next video probably about protection, because I haven't spoken about it in a while, and I've learned some new and different things. The other thing as well is about grounding yourself as well. That's another good key thing. Walking meditation is really good. So moving on to the next point, which is point 20, feeling like something, feeling low or something's going to happen tenfold. So you will feel like everything is gone wrong all at once, and you are more than likely right, because to you it has, because to normal Joe blogs it's just one of the mills, blah blah blah, but to you it's a big thing. So be aware of that. Be aware that it's probably not as bad as it is in the natural, are you on earth, but to you and to us as empaths it is massive, because it's spirit or God, the universe, telling you need to sort yourself out. You need to have your spiritual bath. You need to get yourself cleansed and get yourself sorted, because these things will impact you, and you need to be ready for the next phase moving forward. So point 21 is you feel alone in a crowd. Yes, and I feel this a lot, especially when there's something called the Dark Night of the Soul. You can see my video, The Dark Night of the Soul. And part of that is that you feel alone and you're with all your mates and you're feeling very isolated and very confused. That's when you need healing. That's another indicator when you need healing, or you need to be around positive people just to be. You don't have to make some big thing out of it. You don't need to go into some 2-hour long meditation. It may be that you just need to be around other people that don't demand things from you. In some ways that you need to take on their positive energy to replenish your positive energy which others have used or taken from you. So, and it's not you being a psychic vampire, and sometimes hang out with that positive person. Other empaths should use other empaths, and sometimes it's just saying, look, can we just chill, just to hang out, Netflix, just sit in the garden, go for a drink, just chill, just not do anything, just be in the presence of other people. The next thing is feeling physically exhaustion. So this is point 22. Yes, and it's so important. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, and last couple of days have been like this, and I'm now coming out of my healing phase, my empathic change, and I've been okay myself, but I've been like, I just can't be bothered getting up today. I just want to just stay in my pajamas and just stay in bed, put the TV in a bedroom and just watch rubbish. You know what? Sometimes just bloody do that. It probably is a part of what you need. Follow your empathic intuition. If you meditate and you've got a guide, then use them, ask them for guidance. But if not, drop me a line, and just tell me what's going on with you. Because sometimes you may just need that, but don't let it drag on too long. Make a plan, follow your gut instinct. So the next point 23, is emotionally vulnerable. You are that I'm moving away now from feeling the heat from your healing now. Okay, so that's where you have done your healing and you're feeling overloaded. Now I'm going to be talking about going back to what empaths are. So point 23, emotionally vulnerable. You are an emotionally vulnerable individual. You take on so much without you taking it. This is where it goes back to what I said about you being you need a healing. It's because you constantly are taking on, listening, picking up, feeling, and that's why I say, like, you need to part your protection in the morning and your protection at night, and then your twice or 3 times a week cleansing, because you are absorbing, even if you're not doing it. And even the best ones, you know, even myself, still take on energies, because sometimes you just are away with the fairies and then you just take on other people's stuff, especially if you've got a lot of energies around you who are quite dark or quite negative. Point 24, you might your mind's filled with negativity. So this is where you will pick up on a lot of negative energy, and a negative energy is what you need to try and sense in other people to dispel. Because remember, as an empath, you're a healer. And this is a part of your calling. So when you take on these energies, you are healing. You're almost taking on their energies in order to help heal them, for them to get better. Point 25 is you like to question and interrogate. Yes, because if you sense something, because part of your development is doing just that, is you identifying and interrogating to find out why you are feeling this way, how you meant to learn and grow. So don't feel too way, like, don't obviously get the light bulb and shine it in their face, but that's a part of you developing and understanding what your as an empath, what your next triggers are, where these come from. So when you sense it the next time, you can instantly go, boom, that's what that means, you know. So just be aware of that. So point 26, sometimes you can be too nice. Yes, as an empath, we are too nice. It's a part of our nature. This is a part of our nature. It's a part of being a healer. And I wouldn't say don't be nice in order to keep yourself safe. There's ways of limiting yourself from people taking advantage. But that's who you are. That's what you're created as, and that's what I think you're always going to be. Point 27, you feel other energies and emotions. You do, without a doubt. That's what you're feeling. And how you manage that as an empath is how you manage yourself, and that, I think that's the key thing. Everyone as an empath handles things differently, and so you can, I think my a bit of advice would be, how you manage yourself or your emotions is how you probably should manage other people, because that's unique to you, because that's what you are. And sometimes you can also watch stuff on YouTube, talk to other empaths, what they do, which resonates with you, but don't copy what they are, because it's who they are. But if it helps you, then take it on board, yeah, obviously. But you know, don't do it because if it's not you and then you do it because that person does it, then no. And for example, when I was a medium, when I do platform, I always want to be like Derek Okora, and I found when I was doing platform, I was trying to think, oh, I'm Derek Okora, blah blah blah. Then I just realized, you know what, he resembled somebody I wanted to be like. Then I went up there and I was just myself, and the spirits were just coming forward, like was stepping forward, and I was just banging out readings after readings, and I got pretty good at it. Second thing, right, point 28 is accurate intention. So your accurate intuition. So you have accurate intuition, and I want to put intention in there as well, because your intuition are going to be on point. When you've got this to the T, you will sense and you will be aware of what these people are doing, and this is about you developing your unique self, and your intuition comes out of that, and it does show you what you're about and what you are growing to be, and what you're growing to help others to see in you and limit them from taking advantage of you. So point 29, you feel drawn to help others. You do. You know, that I have nothing else to really say about that. That you're just drawn is a part of who you are. And when you don't if you feel people are taking advantage and you say, right, this is it, I'm not going to bother with anybody else, you will start feeling guilty. It will back up on you. It will back up on you. And this is when you go into the part where you need healing, because I think that's probably a trigger that you need healing, if that's what you feel people are taking advantage. Final point is point 30, is the weather and also the astronomical changes. I used to get affected a lot by the moon changes. So when the full moon used to kick in, my moods used to just go all over the place. I get affected by rain. I'm charged by the sun. So those things affect us. Seasonal changes, because you are a empath and you are basically a spiritual being, you becoming more self-aware of your spiritual expression on this planet. You're going to be picking up on all these spiritual shifts, especially with Mother Earth. Gaia is going to want you closer to her. Gaia is Mother Earth. So hence why, remember when I mentioned about going to the forest, the parks, to see what you feel more drawn to? This is what I was talking about. Is you utilize those a lot more, because that's going to be a part of your healing and a part of your escapism. And just sit in nature, just meditate in nature, be there. It's beautiful. Remember, we are natured beings. So I hope that helped. Again, could you like, share, subscribe? You know what, stay safe. It's a beautiful path being an empath, and you will learn lots, and you will come into contact with other empaths, and I would say surround yourself with all the right people. Much love, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.